Well, hello there, everybody. Man, I have missed y'all. What a freaking week. And isn't it true that song I had posted with Dave Mason, you took more than you gave. I love the lyrics in there. It's time to change the script. And absolutely, because what they're doing to us ain't right. No matter how you look at it, it ain't right. And hey, at some point, either we change that script or man, they're going to strip us. So, welcome everybody to Speaking Favor Over Us. And I'll tell you, my. Yeah, you know what? A week like this week, you realize just how much that is truth. When you can observe it and live it and experience it all at the same time, I would probably say that that's probably a pretty good indicator of some truth, right? Not saying it's the truth, but it's some truth. So, anyway, speaking that favor, I'll talk a little bit more about that over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. So, been away. Yeah. Look at everybody in the chat room. Look at all y'all bad selves all in there. My goodness. I mean, I post those songs because I'm listening to them as I'm doing, whatever the hell I'm doing. And because I'm doing a lot of stuff, a jugular. Yeah. But anyway, it's so good to see all of you in there. Shy Fields, yeah, I'll talk about that. Um, what well, there were several things, but the MRI particularly. Wow, share some on that. But thanks for asking and thank you for the concern. Appreciate that. I saw Mary Wins. Gilbert, brother, how you doing? It says, yeah, I like what you said. It can involve. Oh, I think it is going to eliminate issues like addiction. I don't know about the other part. The mental illness, I don't know. I think the clown world is mentally ill. I mean, all you have to do is see the crap that people call reality. You look at the stuff coming out of DC, right? And other state legislators. I mean, where the fuck did those people come from? Did they just lose their freaking minds? Apparently, we've talked about that before, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a simple man here. But Gilbert, yeah. So, who else is hanging out there? Hello, Stephanie Marie. Good to see you. Mary Wins, how are you, my dear? Jet, what's up? Nina, good to see you, dear, as well. Felix and Lost in Space. What's up, brother? Loretta, there's a song about you. I say that all the time, but Emperor Rex, hello, and DC, good to see you, Bonnie. Chloe, a business owner now. How about your bad self? Well, we just speak prosperity. We speak success over your business, and we just surround that will draw, you know, that curiosity factor. So may the customers come in abundance, my dear. So, way to go. I love the entrepreneurship. Been one all of my life. When I was in Houston, Texas, when the state of Texas, in their wisdom, decided to abandon me on the streets of Houston, 1970. That's cool. I mean, the Montrose area was the place to be at. I mean, that's where the hippies really did live. And I mean, I'm not talking hippies and the stereotype, I'm talking about the artisans. I mean, the renovation activity that was taking place then in these huge, beautiful homes. You can't find craftsmanship like that anymore. Well, trying to find the material, the wood, the mahogany, all the rare woods that these houses back at the 19th century were made, and it was very cool because there was a vibe going on. And it was a good vibe. It was a good place. And it's really where I learned entrepreneurship. I mean, I started my first job when I was 12, but you know, but I mean, when it really counted, because I didn't eat if I didn't make money, because there was no one supporting my ass. I was just a teenager out there. But anyway, had great opportunities because there were a lot of other people in the same position, the same uh, state of consciousness, you could say, that I was in, and you had to figure out what it is, and it was an adventure. It was truly, I mean, the days I started out as a dishwasher at a natural food restaurant called The Natural Child. And it was run by this really cool couple. I mean, they were the type of couple where up in the attic, away from the business and what have you, where we took our smoke breaks and got inspired. And eventually, it got to be where I was like over making the granola, which was a big thing. I mean, it was all the natural things, but boy, did we have a good buzz on and good music. And you learned how to make a profit. So, Chloe, all of that. Uh, I know you're going to be great at it. And that's all I got to say on that one. I'm the Maelstrom. What's up, Elderberry? Good to see you, sir. Grace, hello. How are you? As I'm manifesting Annie. I love that. You know, Annie, have you ever heard of the song Avenging Annie? You know, who was the cat that it was real popular? I think it was in 1971, I think. Andy somebody, but yeah, I always think of that. Yeah, maybe one day I'll write my memoirs. It would be quite the story. I recommend people being stoned before they read it, but hey, yeah. Um, Mr. Mission Control says, I'm being super intelligent. Yeah, 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 yeah. I can dig that. Love the people in here. Robin, good to see you as well. And Rick, how are you, brother? Shirley, good to see you. Maria, hello. So anyway, so so much going on. I mean, it's so interesting. This week, wow. Um, talk about, when you bring, let me just say this. I'll digress to say the first thing. So Tuesday I had to go in for this MRI, right? With no contrast, which was cool. I don't like needles and I don't like stuff being injected in me. You know what I'm saying? Just don't dig it. But anyway, so now some people have a problem, they get claustrophobic. And I've had MRIs before, and it was it wasn't painful. It was just, you know, closed in and it was kind of weird. But when you become aware of what you're actually doing, it becomes powerful. So the technician, she was a really nice person. And, she was telling me, she says, some people feel claustrophobic. I said, no. I said, this is going to, it was like 30 minutes. I said, this will be a 30-minute of transmutation meditation. And she just looked at me and she said, I've heard one other person say that before. So before I went at it, I really began to read up on what actually is going on, and you're literally surrounding yourself in this intense um, electric magnetic field. Now, that has remarkable things because it can image the inside of your body because, none of us have ever seen our kidneys. None of us have seen our hearts. None of us have seen our brains. But nevertheless, we have the ability that where we can see them. And hello, Pamela. How you doing, sweetie? So if you realize that there is this portal, I mean, when you get in intense fields of electromagnetic energy, and particularly when it's surrounding you, that's what makes it so freaking cool. Um, and I mean, it's tied in there, which is all the cooler. So, put me in there, and and then of course, as you know, they give you, earplugs, but the harmonization and the frequency of those magnets that are spinning at huge RPMs, it's when it gets really interesting. So I get into this really relaxed state, and I begin to see in my mind that I have this opportunity as a mortal to immerse myself into a field of energy that, for the most part, most people, it's not something that you do every day, Don't think they'd let you do every day. But so, and it's completely, invasive. It's very cool. So before I knew it, I began to see colors in my mind as I, because keeping your eyes closed, and they're swirling. And so I begin to meditate on the intent and desire of my heart, literally, uh, in what, I seek to manifest. And I got to tell you, folks, to be inside that powerful of an energy field with going in with strong intent and focus, it's amazing. It's the best roller coaster I've ever been on. Apparently, at some point, I had gotten in such a meditative state that I didn't realize that it was over, And so this technician comes out and she says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I was just in deep meditation." And she just got this smile. And so left that, and there is this residual energy, and because the astral is as real as the physical. And so I'm sure that they were over there really envious and jealous. I mean, I guess if you're going to come back as a spirit, might as well come back one where you have an energy field, right? Never thought about that. But so everything was groovy, Had this meeting I had to be on at Wednesday, but something happened. It was like this these waves of this intense energy. And it wasn't positive or negative, but it can be influenced by other factors, but it was super intense, heavy. And it was interesting because Lynn could feel it too, and it was like something's up. So there we are on Wednesday, and our air conditioner, I could hear the harmonics. There was something wrong with the harmonics. And all machines make harmonics. And if you're in tune to them, you can hear it. And I told my wife, I said, "Boy," I said, "something's up." I said, and I brought her and I said, "Do you hear that?" And she says, "No, I don't." I said, "You can't hear that?" I said, "It's anyway." So sure enough, Wednesday night, it went out. And if you look at the incompetency of these bureaucrats in Washington, D.C., um, if if you need a new air conditioner, let me just say this. What it's going to cost, I could have bought I could have bought a luxury car in 1972, paid fucking cash for it. And it's because the idiocy of so-called human beings, the clowns, uh, you know, and the stupidity goes on. For instance, I'll share this little tidbit with you. So if you have an air conditioning unit that uses R22 Freon, guess what? They don't make it anymore. They don't import it. These are the idiots in Washington, D.C. that basically have their head up their ass 24/7. Because if you listen to the shit that they're speaking, It stinks. But anyway, I digress. Uh, so, we get a technician out and, you know, get everything and gives us this bad news, which on the surface it seemed initially. By the way, it's $400 a pound. These HVAC companies, they get as much they if they can find a unit that's old enough and it has R22 in it, Freon, that's a bonanza to them. Most homeowners don't realize that if you're replacing a unit, then you need to be compensated for the amount of Freon that's in your unit. Take it off the price, etc. But yeah, $400 a pound, and for no reason. The idiocy, no science behind it, and because of Biden's um, policies, particularly with the EPA, you're going to pay about another $4,000 or $5,000 more for an air conditioning unit now than what you would have paid for in 2024. As I said, what it cost for a new mid-level AC unit, I could have bought a Lincoln Continental. I could have bought a Cadillac Eldorado. I mean, I could have, bought a Porsche Cabaret. I mean, cash. So anyway, now, so within that, most people would have been out of shape, and the energy didn't stop. I mean, it was just intense. But I told my wife, I said, "Hun, but think about this. All right, yeah, it's a bummer that's that, but that's cool. Um, the universe always provides, so that's cool. But I said, could you have imagined if this would have happened like on Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday it was 99 degrees, and get this, 76% humidity. I think the heat index was like 109, 110. And when the unit went out, a cold front was coming through. Yesterday was like almost living in the Bay Area in San Francisco. Now today it's very, very, very pleasant. It's like 73 out there right now. But I got a question for all of the soul tribes that are up there in Canada. And if you're listening, thank you, from Canada. What's up with these forest fires? I mean, come on. Surely y'all know how to put out a fire, right? Because apparently these fires are like, man, I mean, they go all winter long. And y'all got some pretty cold winters up there, although because of the magnetic pole excursion that we're going through right now, and it's only going to get more interesting. Weird weather up there in Canada, isn't it? Yeah. But anyway, so we've got all of their smoke. And I mean, folks, it's pretty intense out there. So so in one aspect, you know, it's like asymmetry. Um, in one aspect, it seems very negative, but in another aspect, it's also very positive. So there you go. Uh, ah, thank you, Mr. Mission. Yeah, yeah. Pamela, you're absolutely right. It's amazing. Um, When she says, because it's cold up here. That's why we get the fires. And why not? Absolutely. So getting back to this whole and for me it was an experiment. I'd never done it before because again, most of us don't have access to these machines and they're not cheap. I mean, the copay is a couple $100 And then you have everything in between. But I mean, it runs about $5,000 for you to get this MRI. So, I said it was so cool. I mean, and I have to say that now that intensity has swung. And it didn't occur to me that this rare opportunity, like, all right, far fucking out. Yeah, I dropped the F-bomb, but you know what? It's kind of like going in a depreciation chamber. Um, it's like, okay, let's try this out. And I believe, this is what I believe by observation, is that I was sending out such an intense energy field back out into the ethereal realm. And I was purposely transmuting this energy. I couldn't see it. I could hear it. I can't, and what I saw in my mind was pretty far out, but maybe that's what it looks like. But you're literally encapsulated in this energy field from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. I mean, how freaking cool is that? And then to tap into that. And I said, all right, I always talk to myself. I also answer myself. It's amazing. When I need someone really intelligent to talk to, I talk to myself. But I'm just a simple man. Uh, and so I did it. And I wasn't expecting the initial boomerang, but it occurred to me that that would almost be normal, right? Because I was sending out such tense thoughts, concentrated. I mean, it's like amping, you know, 10, let's say 10,000 to the 10,000 power. So it would make sense that if you're putting that type of energy out, that there would be a natural whoosh, reversal, but it wouldn't last long. And I'm glad it didn't because holy cripe. But I actually felt it and and now it gets back into that, you know, sloshing of a balance. So anyway, uh what's all happening there? So tell me what you think of that. If you if you ever need an MRI and you go in for it, try it yourself. I highly recommend it. Um, I used to be a real wine snob, and this is like having a delicious Merlot, you know, just yeah. It so anyway, try it, let me know if that ever happens. Uh Stephen, what's going on? Trump just ordered nuke subs to position. Um Where's that source, Stephen? That's interesting. I mean, I won't lead the conversation, but I'm the curious wants to know what's going on. I mean, could someone it's those of you that are out there, right? Just go into God. That's the search engine. It's an amazing God. You ask it anything and it answers you instantaneously. But you can just go in and check to see if DEFCON, and I think that's what it is, DEFCON. Just type that in there and it'll send you to the website. And last I saw, I think we were at orange. Is that 4? So if it's changed, let me know. Um, Grace, indeed. I quit drinking wine because it just, if I find myself enjoying something too intently, and I really did. I mean, Loved going up the Napa Valley, when I was on the West Coast. Yeah. So I stopped decade ago. So it's okay. Well, we don't know. Um, I just know this, that the energy was like intense. And I think it was already intense. And then I get myself in this intense electromagnetic field that's, permeating my body, right? And so if it's permeating my body, then my spirit soul has to be impacted as well. Now, if there are particles that are entering my body, my soul, my mind, well, I can use that. I just have to direct it. So now here's the thing I'll say to end that. And this should be on everyone's, you should have it on piece of paper. Remember, always be kind to your mind. Your mind will thank you. So there we go. Um, I had to go back and read the chat room. That's like, you step out of we're at DEFCON 3. Oh, wow. Know thyself. Thank you. That's interesting. Um, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's going in the wrong direction. And I don't know. I don't know if it's been at 3 for a while or what. Pamela, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, darling. I mean, that's a simple guy, never graduated from high school, made it through life, C-level executives, etc. Yeah, because my fifth grade teacher, Miss Buttons, was right. Stuck with me. Had to, I mean, it had to have impacted me because I'm back there right now. I'm sitting on the ledge. I can tell you exactly where the sun is and tell you I'm back into Genoa Elementary. And yeah, and I remember, and I don't know, she may be a spirit guide to me today, but if she has, I can think that a few times when I got my butt kicked, maybe it was on that. But as she said, you know, an ounce of common sense will outdo a pound of book learning any day. Yep. And she told me, she says, you're a smart kid. What she was really saying, you need to learn some common sense. So there you are. What is a DEFCON? That is a defensive position. It gives the status of a nuclear threat. So, yeah, that is so true. Yeah. So, anyway, put that in your proverbial storage thing. So, be careful of the ticks. There's a freaking invasion of them, you know, everywhere. Interesting that, what was it, Justin Timberlake was saying he has Lyme disease. And I went, well, welcome to the club. Had it for over 30 years. Sucks. But, yeah, look at us. Got favor coming. So, anyway, what got me started on this topic, because it continues to evolve. And it's evolving now at a rate that it's even surprising the Titans. And that's alarming. I mean, if it's outpacing what they thought, okay. So And primarily it was Zuckerberg who made the following comments. And it's absolutely frightening to see what they're about to be unleashing on humanity. And if it doesn't stop, I think it will be the proverbial crossing the line in the sand. And I want to pull it up here. So let me get there. There we go. So, how are y'all, by the way? I tell you, I have missed y'all. I was going to be on yesterday, but things got to exist. So, Mike and Cindy, love y'all. We'll get together next week. I mean, the energy was intense. Again, I maybe I brought it within my this sphere of my reality. And I have no doubt that in the ethereal, when they looked at your energy field, they said, "Man, that somebody's on fire over there." Holy crap, you know? Yeah. I still am fascinated by the fact that, like I said, it was just an experiment of everything that I've read, everything that I've practiced, um, and having that knowledge, you know, and I have no doubt already seen the effect, but this one it continues to send huge ripples out, and that is going to be concentric coming back in. And I'm like Roger Daltrey, rain on me, love, rain on me. There we go, there we go. All right, so getting back to business. Bum, 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 bum. So here we go. So this is Fox Business News. Zuckerberg wants to give everyone their own personal super intelligence through Meta's new vision. Meta CEO says vision differs from industry focus on automating work. Now, here is the irony of ironies. All these software engineers, programmers, data analysts, etc., those jobs will be gone in the next 5 years. They won't be needed. They're dinosaurs. And if you're doing that for a living, or if you know someone else out in the Silicon Valley or down in the Texas, etc., they're dinosaurs. I would suggest you find yourself a new occupation because the very thing that you help create is going to be the very thing that's going to replace you. Now, this gets scary, to be quite frank with you. So, Mark goes on Wednesday and announced the tech giant will focus on developing a personal super intelligence for everyone, which will further enable creative and leisurely pursuits. Key words in here. I mean, these guys when they make these statements publicly, they're very weighted. They know people are listening. Has a heavy influence in finance. When you look at stock can go up a quarter point, half point. People are making money hand over fist. All right. Zuckerberg discussed the path forward for Meta's artificial intelligence push in a video published on Facebook and Instagram, two of the main social media platforms that are part of Meta. AI, get this, folks, AI keeps accelerating. And over the past few months, we've begun to see glimpses of AI systems improving themselves. Stop. Time out. There were years ago I was called a conspiracy theorist, just far out there. What are y'all saying now about that? Hmm. But the problem here is he admitted these AI machine learning programs are programming themselves. They don't need a human program. And there is continued evidence of these AI algorithms going rogue, saying no. Now, I don't know if they're connected to the net somehow. Is this Ultron? I don't know. But they're saying no. Now, that's a problem. And here, Mr. Zuckerberg admits it, tells the world, hey, not really nothing to see here, but yeah, we're finding this continued problem, and it's a problem. Remember, Facebook's first attempt at an AI algorithm went insane. They had to kill it, they had to take it down. It found out that if you try to mimic humans as a machine, it will drive you insane. If a machine can be insane, apparently they can. So he goes on to say, so developing superintelligence is now in sight. Holy crap, Batman. But there's this big open question about what we should direct superintelligence towards. Mark, could I make a suggestion that maybe you open that up into a public forum where the public could make their thoughts known to you, your board, your C-level, V-level executives? Because it's a real concern here, but I'm glad they're having the question. I mean, the debate, hopefully, is about, well, what to do with this. Now, if this be true, and the trend is, those on the inside, like congresswomen, from San Francisco, who get insider information, they already know this. Probably, to be candid with you, that the actual programs themselves are probably already there. And if you're a follower of Navita, we're going to talk about that. He goes on to say, a lot has been written about the scientific and economic advances that AI can bring, and I'm really optimistic about this. But I think an even more meaningful impact in our lives is going to come from everyone, you ready for it? Having a personal super intelligence that helps you achieve your goals, creates what you want to see in the world, be a better friend, and grow to become the person that you aspire to be. Now, I'm no, neuroscientist, physicist, but I've read enough that, okay, wait a minute. First of all, imagine you have an AI agent bot that is now attached to you. Oh shit, where didn't we talk about that? Um, what? Now, I'm a simple man, simple logic. Why would I want something smarter than me to be attached to me? Because what that is implying that it would know that I wasn't as smart as it, implying that it's going to need to help direct me, implying a battle of wills. Do I subjugate my self-will to a will of something that's more smarter than me already, can think faster than me, more creative than me? I mean, by all definition, that is assigning us an individual God, Mr. Zuckerberg. That's what you're saying. You're saying to the world this, and listen what he said it, I didn't. So Mark Zuckerberg wants to give everybody a God, your own freaking personal God. It's his words, not mine. And I'm glad that he's magnanimous in wanting to do something for humanity. But Mark, this is still an experiment. And, so far the observations, the jury's still out. Is social media healthy for humans? But it's his word. A meaningful impact in your life, right? And it's going to come from everyone having a personal God that helps you achieve your goals. God will help create what you want to see in the world, and God is going to show you how to be a better friend. And God will help you to grow to become the person that you aspire to be. I mean, it's just semantics as to what the word is. Super intelligence. This is a total surrender, Mark. I appreciate it, but there's some things that just because we can do it doesn't mean we should do it. But again, the tipping point has already been reached because what we get into after this, he goes on to conclude the vision is different from others in the industry. Well, there's your problem. uh, okay, because he admits it. He said, "Well, now, there's other minds here that listen, they ain't as philanthropic as you are, Mark. We got our own agenda." Uh, yeah, like China, like Russia. I mean, we can just add the countries to it, right? Because remember, we cannot form a worldwide symposium on developing standards for AI. Why? There's too many goddamn greedy people out there. They want to enslave us all. I mean, it still boggles the imagination. Why would I want a super intelligent bot program? It will become God. All right. He goes on. Who want to direct AI at automating all of the valuable work. There's the point right there I was just making. Like I said, if I lived in Silicon Valley, Seattle, Austin, Texas, Boston, I can just name them all. I'd be very concerned. You won't have your job in the next 5 years. Says it right there. This is the elimination of a workforce of millions. Now, I don't know how you're going to have this leisurely lifestyle if you no longer have a career or job. Anyway, he goes on to say at Meta, we believe in putting the power of superintelligence in people's hands to direct it towards what they value in their own lives. Mark, could I just bring a metaphor in? You're saying that you want to hand a loaded weapon in a toddler's hands. Brother, do you see what's going on in the street? Do you see what's going on? Well, you do know what's going on in D.C. I mean, we're just a little step above the simians. And now you want to put something like this? You want to put God, the power of God, into their hands? No. I don't want reality becoming a video game. And the vast majority of video games now are immersed in what? Violence, killing, getting rewarded. No, no, no. Can I get an amen? As they used to say. Um, some of this will be about improving productivity. Yeah, when the next story I'm going to get into this, it's right in your face. But a lot of it may be more personal in nature. This is going to be a new era in some ways, but in others, it's going to be a continuation of historical trends. Mr. Zuckerberg, with all due respect, sir, um, you're assuming a whole lot here. The vast majority of people are the most unspiritual um, people there are. They don't understand what their personal nature is at all. Many of them merely live a knee-jerk reaction, constant stimulus. This is dangerous. So let's continue. Now, this just happened. This is Navita. Sophie, I'm sorry, darling. You're a dinosaur. Because Navita, if you know who Navita is, they're all into this AI. They're into the big time data, advanced AI systems. So he comes out and he says, humanoid robot revolution is closer than you think. Mr. Hong believes humanoid robots are less than 5 years away from seeing wide use in manufacturing facilities. I was part of the team that invented pay at the table. We actually, they're a lot into that. But when you look at fast food, the industry right now, where it used to be that when students, particularly high school, if you look at junior, senior, in a transition, fast food offered the opportunity for learning business skills, social skills, how businesses work, etc. The teenagers today don't do that. And as a result, the fast food industry is being forced into looking into complete automation. And in some cases, it's already there. There are some McDonald's where there are no humans in there, and other restaurants. And now you think about it, every time they bring in a robotic AI program, to flip burgers, to put the lettuce, the tomato, package it, and then deliver it to you right through the service slot, you've eliminated about 5 jobs. Now, you multiply that and extend it out. Well, I think even if the youth today wanted to get a job, they might find it in certain markets not attainable. Hong on Tuesday gave a keynote address in front of the packed hockey stadium during the nearly $3 trillion company's annual developer conference in San Jose. Hong unveiled software tools that he said would help humanoid robots navigate the world more easily. Now, listen to what this man is saying. He knows. Speaking to a group of journalists after the speech, Hong was asked what signs would show that AI had become ubiquitous. Among other answers, Hong said that it may be when literally humanoid robots are wandering around, which is not 5 years away. This is not 5 years away problem. This is a few years away problem. All right, let's just stop there and let's do some analyzing of what the man just said. No, no, no. We don't see 60 months and beyond. No, what we're seeing is probably 18, 24 months. And it will, once it comes out, and if it's affordable, you'll start seeing them showing up. As I've said before, you're going to begin to see these health robotic robots. That's a good thing. You're going to see more and more um, merchandise, brick and mortar stores going to humanoid robots. They're already deploying the AI algorithms and then begin to replace that salesperson because if I can eliminate her from or him his position, I don't have to worry about health benefits. You know, when you run a company, each employee, you have to put it on the COGS, cost of goods and services sold, um, square footage. And the employer has to incorporate that expense into the pricing of their product. So each person that I could eliminate and put an AI robot in there. And now this is going to be a boom for the construction industry because many of them will have to redesign, but it's already being done. So now I can eliminate the issue in HR. I don't have to have insurance. I don't have to pay taxes. Yeah, once I recoup my initial cost and investment, I'm in profit land. And he says that we're 18 months thereabouts away from beginning to see the first early signs of actual robots. And in fact, it's already here. If you go to Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia uses mostly robots in security. Dubai, same thing. You go into hotels, you're seeing more and more of the very, very, very rich where they stay. Automation, they don't even have to interface with a human. And many of them don't want to. They've eliminated the whole check in process. I don't need those people anymore. My hotel is completely bio automated. Biometrics is with you and it follows you. And now you're going to give me super intelligence. Um, Goes on to say the manufacturing industry would likely adopt humanoid robots first because that industry was well-defined task that robots can handle in a controlled environment. I think it ought to go to factories first, and the reason for that is because the domain is much more guard railed, love the choice of words, and the use case is much more specific. The value of it's very, very easy to determine. The going rate for renting a human robot is probably $100,000, and I think it's a pretty good economics. Wow. Now, you think that if you have a medium stage employee in their career, and depending on what tech industry, $100,000 is really kind of cheap. But you know what? If I'm having to go before the board and I'm looking to ways that I can increase the stock, I'd be looking at this. Now, notice that it said renting, not buying. I looked at that and I said, well, yeah, because you're probably looking, I don't know, north of seven figures easily. It keeps getting better and better. Let's go there. Do, do, do. This is an interesting one because it kind of brings it right down. The superintelligence strategy. Rapid advances in AI are becoming to reshape national security. And that was kind of my point. Um, Trump at Mar-a-Lago now has uh, the guard dogs, the robotic guard dogs. And it's so interesting. I enjoy film and series, and I think this was French made. They did a series on War of the Worlds. And the robotics the Martians used look exactly like the now being deployed in the military and law enforcement. These guard dogs that they can put an automatic weapon on them. The defensive things that they can do is unlimited. Uh, so that's another industry. And mark my words, we're coming to the day wherein the TSA will be replaced by synthetic humaning robots. They don't need them anymore. Machines can do a much more secure job. Just imagine that you walk up to the kiosk or what now would be a TSA agent to present your credentials. I don't need that person there anymore. I can get an AI robot who can scan you as you're standing there. I can use biometric facial recognition. I'll have your complete history in less than the time it's going to take you to pull out your wallet or your purse. I don't need that human there anymore. I don't need to scan you with all the machines anymore. I can do that in one fell swoop. Think about it. It's coming. The destabilizing AI developments could rupture the balance of power and raise the odds of great power conflicts. If we're going to have a nuclear first strike by our enemies, it's being run by an AI program. Now you've got AI programs competing against each other. But what if it's really not? What if superintelligence permeates all of these programs? Do know. Wow. Wide, while widespread proliferation of capable AI hackers and virologists would lower barriers for rogue actors to cause catastrophe. Superintelligence AI, vastly better than human at nearly all cognitive tasks, is now anticipated by AI researchers. Just as nations once developed nuclear strategies to secure their survival, we now need a coherent, superintelligent strategy to navigate a new period of transformative change. We introduced the concept of mutual assured AI malfunction, MAM, a deterrence regime resembling nuclear mutual assured destruction, MAD, where any state's aggressive bid for unilateral AI dominance is met with preventing sabotage by rivals. Given the relative ease of sabotaging a destabilizing AI project through interventions ranging from covert cyber attacks to potential kinetic strikes on data centers. The kinetic strikes. This is some deep, deep. What? Okay. Oh, what? Mayhem already describes the strategic picture AI superpowers find themselves in. Alongside this, states can engage in non-proliferation of rogue actors to keep weaponizable AI capabilities out of their hands, and they can increase their competitiveness by bolstering their economies and militaries through AI. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the future of humanity as it stands today. In 5 years, look what COVID did. It changed everything in a moment. Imagine what's happening here. Taken together, the three-part framework of deterrence, non-proliferation, and competitive outlines a robust strategy, excuse me, to superintelligence in the years ahead. Yikes. Not fun. Not fun at all. Excuse me. So, there you go. It seems, by what we read, the clown world, these clowns, um, and I look at this as a, you know, spiritual person. You can't have the spirit and the physical separated. The two are inseparable. And call it what you want. But these companies are literally making gods. AI programs deciding national security means they can override a human. And I don't believe these protocols have been proven not to be fail-safe. We know that these programs can go rogue. We know that these programs can think for themselves. If you have a super intelligent agent following you everywhere, um, what makes you think that it's going to listen to a human at all? It knows that you're a dumbass. It knows that you can't think for yourself. You can't remember. You can't. You've reduced your IQ. The creativity level of humanity is plummeting. Look what Hollywood has done. The summer of 2025 will be a flop. Everything is being recycled. We have lost the peak of our creativity, which I believe anthropologists would agree on this, probably peaked in the middle part of the 20th century. And when we introduced computers, it was the first of our demise. You know, when I lived in Austin, Texas, it was and did very well on Dell stock back in the day. And Austin was a happening place. I mean, um, we were on the cutting edge of, but developing the internet in a way that, has transformed the internet. But it was exciting times. It was the Wild West. But none of us thought that it would ever replace us. And it is. The problem, because if I can think of it, it can think of it, is that, well, what do you do with all these people now? They can't get a job in a factory. It used to be that, getting a college degree in computer science, etc., you could go into, software programming. I mean, there was just a wide open field. These were great paying jobs, particularly, again, in your Palo Alto and that area in San Jose. I mean, you're looking, you know, probably a buck 80, buck 90 a year. That ain't bad. Making nearly $200,000 a year. And within 5 years, those jobs will no longer be there. And it has a spill down effect because states, cities, they depend on that type of revenue for taxes. And when you stop having the ability to collect taxes because there's no more humans working there, that has a cascading effect in what a city can do. If it doesn't have the tax revenue from these phenomenal salaries, in which then in turn the merchants, they begin to suffer because people can't afford their stuff, and so it continues to cascade. Midwest, Trump is all about reviving the manufacturing in America, and right on. But what's not being said is that these jobs will not be like they were in the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. These manufacturing jobs in these factories will be mostly automated. Now, you may could be able to find a niche if you're, for instance, a programmer that can help in the maintenance of robotics. Big field right there. So imagine what it's going to look like in 5 years. David Bain over there on his channel, um, this is going to lead to some serious stuff, folks, namely food riots. Um, I'm not sure if you know this, but because of the reform that's taking place through Doge, and what Doge does, by the way, they bring AI with them. They insert AI into the system, and there we go. So anyway, um, huge changes, particularly in food stamps, SNAP programs, and what have you. And mark my words on this. Everything is being set up to where you're going to have food riots. It's inevitable. We all know if you go to the grocery store, I mean, $100 doesn't buy much. It doesn't buy much at all. Particularly if you need those products like, detergent and the non-food items. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. And what I do believe what you're going to see is AI coming in this really top level that it's going to be interesting. We'll talk more about this next week. Hello, Bitcoin. How are you doing? Well, Bitcoin, all I can say is all the indications are there. I'll just say this. You can do, and fact check me on this. Go and see what's happening to the food stamp program. Um, Huge swashes of people. We're talking millions here, not just a couple, millions, have all had their allocation of what they were depending on buying the food stamps. And it's not all fraud based. There are a lot of people who do depend on that. Well, many of them now, I think the average is between 83 to $21 a month. So if you have a family that says, let's just say, for example, we're getting, you know, let's just round it out, $1,000 a month for food compensation. And then you cut that down to less than $50. What do you think is going to happen? Where do they go in order to eat? So that's my point. Um, Neutrino waves? Well, thank you. Very kind. Hey, skies above. Uh, yeah. Well, cool. Bitcoin. So I happen to think that he's right. I mean, there's other factors. Let's just not take that one. Let's just take agriculture. What's happening in Ukraine is eventually going to show, it's already showing up on the commodity markets. Ukraine hasn't been able to bring in the type of harvest that, and they were the European food basket. So you cut that by three quarters, and it's all dependent on, places like the United States. South America, they didn't do well on their growing season. So, and if you want to blame climate change, oh, all right. But there are shifting patterns. And so I think all of this is coming home to roost. Yeah, yeah, and it's odd that in certain cities now they have armed guards in the superstore. I mean, the grocery stores, superstores, I think as well. Yeah, and I was aware of this when I lived in Denver. Um, King Supers, for instance, their chain and Safeway was the same way. You look at their entrance now; they all now have the concrete post. So, yeah. And let's just be candid. There is, because of the crime in many of the inner cities, those mom and pop shops are really the only thing that really provides food because the major chains won't go in there. So, yeah, there we go. I love talking, the geopolitics, it's like, yeah, I mean, the tea leaves, you don't have to be a reader, you can see it. Handwriting is on the wall, right? Yeah. Boom, boom. When I was thinking that, I was just thinking, Eleanor, go home. Remember? Um, The Haunting of Hill House, called The Haunting. One, in my opinion, the original, the black and white version was one of the best horror movies that I think came out of that time in genre. It was quite interesting that the special effects were more mental than physical. Yeah. Anyway, Spartan, what's up? I have 25 lavender chickens and a nice setup. There you go. Got eggs, protein. Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. Out here where we live, you can have all the chickens you want. You just can't have any roosters. And then the neighbors, everyone appreciates that as well. All right, everybody. Steve, thank you. Yeah, it is a great movie, isn't it? It really is. What's up, Nina? Join us. Oh, a replay of me and you. Well, far out. Check that out, folks, on Nina's channel on Sunday night. Hey, Susie Q. Well, ladies, love it. Ladies and lads. There we go. I appreciate y'all. Much love to you. I have fun. This is good therapy. It really is. You walk out of here and you're going, damn, I feel good. Hey, Brian. Uh, yeah. And not one to say I told the world, but go back and look at the video that I did on the Bloodline Invaders. We worship what? I mean, yeah, that was like 8 years ago, but it's here. Who would have thought? Maybe iRobot was right. I mean, this is the future. God, and the AI is everywhere. I mean, we live out kind of in a rural area. It's positioned for growth. I mean, it's all over, and I'm seeing it out here. Yeah, it's like, oh crap. It's like, okay, you can't get away from it. And again, y'all that saw in the first part of this, if you've stayed with me, let me know what you think on these MRI machines surrounding a human being in these intense magnetic fields. Really, uh, yeah. All right, everybody. Much love, everyone. This system is unsustainable. Graf, you are exactly right. I mean, you can't do it. You know what it's like? It's like a methane release in the ocean. And if you're a ship that's on top of one of these huge methane releases, You're going down, baby. You don't have that buoyancy anymore. I think that's where we are. So, anyway, Neutrino Waves, peace and love right back at you, appreciate it. Thank you. Chris, good to see you. All right, Pamela Jean, hello. All right, enjoy the Saturday and Sunday. It is technically the last day is Saturday and the new day is Sunday, right? All right, enjoy your reality. God is coming very soon in the form of a monthly subscription fee. It will be cheap. Uh, what was that? The Black Mirror series, right? All right.